Hey YouTube, it's Moonbeam Honeysuckle Smith, and today I wanted to talk to you about a couple of products or companies that I like. So I wanted to talk to you about a couple companies. They're small businesses that I support and I think you could support as well. So a little background. I love to ride bikes. Race bicycles, sightsee on bicycles, and it's just a great way to see the country. Cars, you drive by stuff, you're always on the main highway, so you never really pay attention to those backcountry roads and some sites not typically stopped at. About 5 years ago, I was looking for a way to go out on adventures, but I didn't want to adventure out on my own where I'd be all self-sustained on a trip, because it's kind of nice having a sag wagon to help you out if you get a flat tire or if you need an extra gel, or to fill up your water bottle. So after a little bit of Googling, there's several different tour companies out there in the US, as well as companies both that are based in the US that have tours outside of the US in Europe, Asia, South America, what have you, Australia. But I was looking for something different. So I find sometimes that when riding with a mixed crowd, co-ed, that sometimes egos can get in the way, and sometimes the fun gets taken away from the event, the ride, the run, what have you, because sometimes, I'm sorry to say it guys, but you guys are very competitive and you can't turn that off really. And so I found this group, this tour group that's based out of Rochester, New York, called Women Tours. And so by the name of it, you can tell it's only women. And just on a whim, I'd saved up some money because they are kind of expensive. Saved up my money in November of 2014. I went on my first woman tour, which happened to be in Death Valley. And I'd never been to Death Valley. So it was a great experience. We started off in Vegas for a night, met everybody, you have dinner, you have a meet and greet. That time I rented a bike through them because I was living on the East Coast and didn't really, want to deal with the hassle of shipping my bike out to the West. Looking back, I kind of wish I had, because I like my bike and it just fits me. Whereas a rental, it's it never quite fits you right. So went to Death Valley, and it's still hot in mid-November. It was just fun, on that trip, I shared a room at each of the hotels we stayed at. I had a different roommate. So far, I've been the youngest one on any of these trips. But so yeah, Death Valley, it was a great way to see Death Valley. And while I was one of the first typically to the end of the day to wherever our location was, whether it was back at the hotel we were staying at the previous night or to our new location, I had just come off of a really good race season. I was probably the strongest I ever have been. And so I didn't really stop to smell the flowers so much, whatever flowers may have been alive there. So, but woman tours, yeah, I kept it on the back burner then after that trip. And so actually before I got home from my deployment that I was on, I already knew that I needed some time for me when I got home. And so while I was still overseas, I ended up looking up to see kind of what tours would fit in the fall for me and my schedule, knowing that I was kind of beyond some downtime and that I just needed to take time for myself to go do something fun, enjoyable, relaxing. So that fall in September, I ended up actually driving to New England, visiting some family as well that I hadn't seen in, well, since before I left on my deployment, and ended up doing the Cape Cod Rail Trail trip. So that one was a short one. It was like a, I don't know, 3-4 day trip. We started in Hyannis and ended up down in Provincetown at the very tip of Cape Cod. So it was, you know, after having not been really riding my bike for close to a year and really being out of shape and having a few post-deployment issues and stuff, it was enjoyable because I just kind of took it easy, really. So, you know, ate lots of lobster and chowder because that's what you do when you're in New England. But it was a lot of fun, and it's a great way, once again, most of the time, once we got out of part of Hyannis, we were on a paved trail where, you know, you'd have to watch for cross traffic every once in a while. But for the most part, it was easy riding. A few roads that we'd have to get off here and there, but almost all the way it was a rail trail. Former railroad track that they end up paving for multi-use. So like I said, I booked that trip, and then I also booked a trip for October 2016 down in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. I spent about 4 years in North Carolina previous to this, but had never been to the Outer Banks. You know, I was just somewhere else in my life, and Outer Banks weren't important to me. Well, now I had the opportunity to see the Outer Banks by bicycle. And it was the week following Hurricane Matthew. So yes, there was still a lot of grit and issues because of the hurricane, some road washout here and there, but we're on a bicycle, so it's a lot easier to get around that stuff than with a car. But yeah, it was pretty awesome. I went to Duck Donuts in Duck, North Carolina. Got to go see Kitty Hawk, where the Wright brothers had first flight. National Park site. And, you know, continue on down, went to Cape Hatteras. We couldn't go up in the lighthouse anymore. That had closed down like the week or two before, around Columbus Day weekend. Saw the wild ponies on Ocracoke Island. And just, it was really awesome. It probably would have been less awesome if I had had a headwind heading southbound all the way down the Outer Banks. But one of the other things about these trips is that you do get to meet people from all over. And like the first two trips, this third trip, I was the youngest one on it. This one, only by a couple years, I think. So, but I got to go down to North Carolina and see the ocean and smell that ocean air get eaten alive by big old mosquitoes that will get you right through your kit. But it was a lot of fun. So I was like, wow, this is 3 woman tours I've been on now. 2 of them on the East Coast, 1 on the West. These trips are fun. Number one, yeah, they're expensive, but they typically pick you up from the airport, typically. You know, each trip is a little different. At least for the destination trips like this, your hotel room is covered through it. Now, if you want to have your own single room, you have to pay an upcharge. Most of your meals are included. There's typically like 1 or so day, depending on the length of your trip, where you may go out and check out the town and get your own lunch and get your own dinner, that kind of thing. When you're out on some of the longer days on the rides, they do a picnic lunch, which is kind of like sandwiches, cold cuts, hummus, salad, some cookies. There's always, when you sign up for these, they ask if you have any dietary needs. So that way they can shop properly for the crowd that they're going to have. So yeah, they're fun. So what do? I decided I needed to have another trip for my birthday week 2 years ago. And I decided to go to Acadia National Park in Maine with Women Tours. And I've never been that far up in Maine before. I've been to the beach and hotels and all that kind of stuff in southern Maine growing up as a kid, but I'd never really been that much further north than like Portland, Freeport area. And I've heard such great things about Acadia National Park, how beautiful it is. And it truly is. And even in the middle of the summer, it gets cold in the middle of the night, and sometimes it rains during the day. We saw a crazy fog rolling in that reminded me of California, and got to eat lots of lobster and chowder again. And, we got to try different things within the park. At Jordan Lake, eating popovers, which are like these little pastry things they put jam on. And riding the old Rockefeller carriage trails all around, which I thought I was never going to get to the top of the mountain because it was hot that day. But it was absolutely beautiful. One day we took a ferry with our bikes and rode to another part of the park and rode around there, and there was a little ice cream shop that you could stop at. And I ended up riding back in the van because I was freezing. So instead of freezing on the boat ride back to Bar Harbor, I took the van back. And so one of the things about these trips is the guides. The guides that they have, some of them, are retired from doing normal work. Some, are former military. Some, I don't know, they've just done all kinds of stuff. And a lot of them just enjoy riding bicycles and enjoy being around others who enjoy riding bicycles and sightseeing. And it's just, the guides are pretty cool. I've had some of the same guides on my various trips. Not all the time the same one. I think one I've had on 3 different trips. And so they get to know us, we get to know them. And on the Acadia trip, one of the guides is from North Carolina, from Asheville area, and she also has her own business. And with this business, she makes soap and lip balm and all that kind of stuff, and from more natural ingredients, so it's not all gunky. And I ended up buying a bar of soap. She gave us some lip balm for free. It's somewhere. I lose lip balm. I have like 10 somewhere floating around in bags, pockets, somewhere. But I ended up buying a bar of goat's milk soap. So while I was living in California several years ago, I had a CSA, from some local organic farms and stuff. And in one of my week's packages, I got some goat's milk soap. It was the first time I'd ever used it. And let me tell you, it sold me on not using normal Dove or Ivory or whatever commercial, soaps are out there. And because my skin, it felt soft. It didn't have this like film that a lot of commercial soaps put on you. So since then, I try my darndest wherever I'm at farmers markets or small town general stores, like 'cause that's popular up in like Vermont and that kind of thing. I'll buy myself goat's milk soap. And so her company, which I'll include the URL to her company, Essential Journeys, down below here. So her soaps, she has beer soap, which is a liquid soap infused with beer. I haven't tried any of those. I've just had the lip balm, and then I ended up, I'm actually not currently, but currently using a goat's milk soap infused with pomegranate. And I just love it. You know, you put it in like a little, I have a little satchel thing that I got from some other soap that I bought at a local farmer's market. And so it kind of foams up really nice. So the goat's milk soap that she has is called the Appalachian goat's milk soap. And it's made with biodegradable blend of glycerin, vegetable oil, goat's milk, natural fragrance, and essential oils, and other natural pigments. And you know, they're not those perfectly shaped bars of soap that are completely milled. No, there's some wave to it, and they smell really good. So I realized that I was on my last bar of soap right now, and I needed to get some more soap. And I could have tried some other company, and I seem to always miss the farmer's market because I'm always busy. And so I went online, and she was having a special with shipping, and I ended up buying 4 bars of soap. So they're $8.50 per bar, but for me that's worth it because, you know, they each last a while. And so I bought 2 goat's milk, specifically goat's milk soaps. One, this time I decided to try grapefruit. See, isn't that so cute? And also I got a vanilla swirl. And these are each 5 ounces. And then she also sells what she calls soap by the slice. It's paraben-free, phthalate-free, and cruelty-free. And this one is kind of cute. It's a little bear in a tree on a hill. Yeah, cute. And then I also got another one of hers, soap by the slice, milk and honey. And so, yeah, if I hadn't gone on the Acadia, Maine woman tour, bicycle tour, I would have never known about this company. And, you know, in small little company, you know, so small batch product, you know, yeah, you're going to pay a little bit more, but, you know, her heart went into it. And I think her significant other, he helps with the business as well. And so, yeah, it's, you know, like I said, I'll put the link down below, the URL for the company. Check it out. Every once in a while, you know, and a lot of her stuff is bicycle and outdoors related. I mean, Asheville, North Carolina. So, but check it out. Yeah, so to go back to the theme of bicycle touring, this last October, I ended up going on a tour out in Moab, Utah, road cycling tour. And I haven't been to Moab since, well, it's been a while, over 20 years. And I thought it was a great opportunity to go back and visit family and go see some sights and stuff. And so that's what I did. And this time I packed up my bike, used bikeflights.com in my own case, which next time I may just pay a bike shop to do all that for me and have it sent to a shop that the tour works with over there, because I was constantly worried about my bike with me packing it. Not that I didn't have enough padding and stuff in there, it was just the whole time like, and I still had to have some adjustments made in Moab. But once again, awesome tour. One of the days we got to go on the Colorado River on a little rafting trip. It was what I would consider a lazy rafting trip, but have lunch out there. One of my first videos I did that I made up was using some of the footage from that trip. But yeah, check it out. I'll also put the link for Woman Tours down below. Check it out. If you want to go on a group tour where there's no egos and you can ride at your own pace, you can make friends, and you know what? I've been on one where there was an 80-something-year-old lady, and she knows she can't climb hills too well anymore, so she would get a ride in a van and go to the top of the hill and then ride again. So, and it's a no-judge zone. You know, I actually, on the Moab trip, I knew I wasn't in good enough shape to climb into La Salle Mountain, on La Salle Mountain Road, whatever it was. It was a pretty long and decent climb. And so myself and one of the other ladies, you know, with some other ladies that wanted to go cheer us on, we rode up in the van and then rode down, you know, so we still got like a good 40 or so miles in that day, but we just didn't want to be miserable, because the point of this is we're still on vacation and we're wanting to have fun, not be miserable. So go ahead, check them out, essentialjourneys.com, Woman Tours, and support your national parks. All right, so this is Moonbeam Honeysuckle Smith. Peace.